Good afternoon. This is a quick review of the English 11 syllabus for this school year, the 2020-2021 school year. My name is Miss Day. I'm going to go briefly over the class overview. So what content are we going to be looking at? What are the procedures and policies for this course? I can be reached, the easiest way to reach me is at kday@shps.org, or I'm in room B109 at the high school. Okay, so class overview. We start with a pre-collection unit. It has two parts to it. These are the foundational skills that you need to be able to complete the rest of the year. So the first part one is the basics of argumentation, where you're going to learn to structure arguments, support with solid concrete evidence. We do this by doing mock trials for murder cases. They are not real pictures of murder victims. They are line drawings, but you do get to argue your side of the case in front of lawyers. We will do this during this time over a flip grid. So they are shorter arguments. They're strictly oral arguments for about 5 minutes. The second part of the pre-collection unit is rhetorical analysis. It's how we're going to be approaching every nonfiction text that we have. This takes a real hard look at who is speaking, why are they saying the things that they are, what is the situation that they are composing this in, what kind of arguments are they using, what persuasion are they using. You've got some of this already with the idea of ethos, pathos, and logos. You got that in 10th grade. This takes it a bit further. And then we go into collection 1, which is coming to America. It's the colonizing of America. And we're going to be looking at the experience of the colonizers, the colonized, and immigrants in the modern day. Then collection 2, building a democracy. There's a lot of crossover here with your government or U.S. history class. We're going to be looking at the Declaration of Independence. We're going to be looking at the Constitution, but we're going to be looking at them from a rhetorical standpoint, from the standpoint of their literary and argumentative features. So then collection 4, you'll notice this is out of order. That's the new birth of freedom. And this is the African American experience and women. And chronologically, that would come after collection 3. However, it aligns with Black History Month, and it has some very important skills that come before the scheduled yearly SAT. Again, we don't know if that's going to occur this year or not. So then we're going back in time a little bit to collection 3, which is the individual in society. 19th century, and it's the creation of this new American literature, uniquely American voices in both poetry, in text, in literature, you name it. Then finally, collection 6, which is the modern world. We're going to be reading The Crucible by Arthur Miller, as well as some texts by Tim O'Brien, Zora Neale Hurston, Langston Hughes, some Robert Frost, and some different things there. Okay, so your weekly online schedule. The course is going to run on a weekly schedule. Each week will contain the following elements. You will have content assignments up here. You will be assigned daily or weekly assignments focused on the HMH content of the course. That's the textbook. Assignments will be diverse in format. You're going to have some Pear Decks, some Ed Puzzles, some Google Docs, instructional videos, required readings, all sorts of things are going to come at you. You are going to have a weekly no red ink quiz. These quizzes will be due on Friday at midnight, unless the weekend's on Thursday, and then it's Thursday by midnight. You're going to see the syllabus for how to do retakes. Now you'll notice that this year you are not required to do the practice. Basically, what is going to happen there is you don't have to take the practice to take the quiz. However, if you don't pass the quiz, you have to do the practice and retake it. If you request to retake the quiz because you are unhappy with the score, but you did pass, then you will be assigned the practice in order to get that retake. The discussion board. Each week you're going to be asked a question in Google Classroom on Monday. Okay? These are going to go live, as will the weekly schedule, by Monday, 7 a.m. Your response will be due Monday at midnight, 4:12 a.m. Tuesday. You will then be required to do 3 peer replies, and they will be due Wednesday by midnight. Then you have some optional things. There are virtual office hours with either myself or Mr. Crow. You can see the Google Classroom for that weekly schedule and the links. You will have individual and small group meetings with your teacher, whether that's done virtually or in person. Those are a possibility as well. Okay, so 100% distance learning, what we are in right now at the beginning of the school year. It's required by the state. If at any point during the school year, students will be required to make weekly contact with the teacher. You will have 2 options. You can attend a Zoom or Google Hangouts office hours. You can send an email or do a Flipgrid. You'll have 3 check-in questions to respond to each week, and those will be posted for you. It's only required during periods of 100% distance learning, so when you're 100% virtual, 100% at home. If for some reason we are back in hybrid and yet you choose to remain at home, you will still be required to answer these questions every week. Okay. The late work policy. We're being a little kinder this year. Normally in English 11 you get 2 days. We're extending that to 2 weeks now. So for 10% will be removed from the grade the first week past the original due date. 20% will be removed from the earned grade the second week past the original due date. Any work turned in 2 weeks past the original due date needs to be reviewed with a parent or guardian and the teacher for credit to be given. Essentially, if you miss that 2-week window, you have to review it with your parents and with myself, and I will take it on a case-by-case basis as to whether or not any credit will be given. So, paper rewrites. The skills assessments are going to be a little bit different. We can't do traditional tests like we would here in the classroom in quite the same way. So, the paper rewrite policy, you will have 1 week after receiving a graded paper, after it's returned to you, to revise based on the feedback that you're given. So 1 week to revise and turn it back in for a better score. Here's the very important part here. It's only possible for papers that are turned in on time. If you did not get the paper in on time, revisions are not a possibility for you. Okay, and then this is just touching on the no writing part that we talked about. That you are not required to complete the practice on no writing before taking the weekly quiz, but if you fail the weekly quiz, you will be required to do the practice and a retake. Okay. Academic integrity, particularly important during this time. So, kind of a summary of the idea. You are expected to do and get credit for work that is truly your own. This means that when assigned to read a book, that you actually read the book and not an online summary or movie. This means that you complete your own assignments and not copy answers from someone else or get someone else to complete it for you. This means that you write your own essays. The following school-wide policy will apply. This is straight out of our handbook. A student will not plagiarize, cheat, gain unauthorized access to, or tamper with educational materials. Discipline under this section is in addition to and separate from other classroom and academic sanctions that may take place. Students who commit academic misconduct, cheating, by copying others' work, allowing their work to be copied, plagiarism, or by other means will receive a failure for that assignment, and the teacher will notify parents and the office. The second offense will result in failure for the marking period and parent and office notification by teacher. Here is a quick note. There are 2 teachers, myself and Mr. Crow, teaching English 11. We have access to each other's Google Classrooms. So if you attempt to copy a paper, say from one of Mr. Crow's students in English 11, and turn it in under your assignment in my classroom, you will be caught. All it takes is a simple Google. And Google includes some plagiarism checks now. So don't think you're going to get away with that. Just write your own paper, and then if you're unhappy with your score, based on the feedback, you can revise. Okay. So, student expectations. What we expect from you. That you will check the weekly calendar for assignments and due dates. That you'll complete weekly discussion posts and replies. That you'll complete the weekly no-red ink quizzes. That you'll ask for help when needed through email or office hours. And that you will turn in original work. Okay, support available to you at home. And this involves your parents. So we are asking them to complete a parent-guardian survey that's in their email. They will be receiving that this week. That they check in with a student about weekly assignments. That they check in with PowerSchool and or Google Classroom for assignments and grades. Okay, I know it's tough right now. Parents are having to do these check-ins while taking care of children, sometimes multiple children, and making sure they're getting their schooling done and while handling their own careers. So be kind to your parents right now, guys. All right, so any questions? Send me an email. I can be reached at kday@shps.org. Have a wonderful rest of your day.